Hi, my name is Mark Hotchkiss. Let me tell you a little bit about myself first. I spent my youth and teen years in a church that preached word of faith. If we prayed for someone to be healed and they were not healed, we were always told that it was because we did not have enough faith, or the person we prayed for did not have enough faith. If we prayed for financial security and didn't get it, then we lacked faith. We were told that we just didn't believe hard enough that God could answer our prayers, or that He was able to answer our prayers. The church referred to Hebrews 11:6, which read, "Without faith it is impossible to please God." Around 1975, maybe 74, I might have the year wrong, but it is close and it doesn't change the story. It was a Sunday night. We were in church. It was during our praise and worship time. A couple came to our church along with the woman's mother. The woman was in a wheelchair, stricken with cancer. They had just come from the hospital. She'd gone through chemo, had a scarf on her head, hair was gone. Her husband was told that there was nothing more that the doctors could do, so take her home and make her as comfortable as you possibly can. Now, they weren't Christians and had never gone to church before. Our pastor had stepped off the platform and walked to the back of the church. It's about 20 feet, not a big church. They talked, and the pastor stopped the service to have the church pray for this woman. Now, the woman got out of the chair completely healed of cancer after we prayed for her. And I don't know if she lived another 20 plus years. That was a miracle. But in 1977, my grandfather had a stroke. I was with him. He died 3 days later in the hospital. Now, the same people prayed for him, including this woman who had been healed from cancer and her husband. My cousin had cancer. We prayed and believed. She died after a few years fighting the disease. Again, the same people were praying for her too. So why was the unbeliever healed, but the believers were not? Now, we had faith. We believed that God could heal all diseases. He healed the non-believer of cancer. So why didn't He heal the believers? I was always told things like, well, if you have financial troubles, have faith. God will provide. If you have physical troubles, have faith. God can heal. If you have social troubles, need a husband or wife, have faith. God has everything under control and He will bring the right person to you. Now, I went years not understanding why God healed the unbeliever, but not the believers. And I was disappointed. But after a while, here's the answer that God gave me to the question about faith. You see, faith is not about what God can do for you, not about His abilities. Faith is about what you will do for God. So, what is faith? The definition of faith today is that complete trust or confidence in someone or something, in someone's ability. For example, we send our children to school ready to take a test. We encourage them and tell them that we have faith in them, that they will do well. See, faith is about their ability to do well on a test. Well, this is what I was taught in my youth. Faith is the complete trust or confidence in God's ability to heal me your financial needs, etc. I had a thought that just maybe we as Christians don't quite understand what the scriptures mean when it talks about faith. Then I had a thought, well, could our definition of faith have changed over the years? Or are we putting our modern understanding or our modern definition of faith over the biblical definition of faith? Has it changed over the years? Well, I looked to see if there were other words that have changed meanings over time. And if there are, then perhaps faith has changed as well. Well, here are a few of the words that I found that did change meaning over time. The word cheater. Now, a cheater was originally an officer appointed to look after the king's lands, which lapsed to the crown on the death of the owner who had no heirs. Now, as William Gurnall wrote in 1662, a cheater may pick the purses of ignorant people by shewing them something like the king's broad seal, which was indeed his own forgery. So mistrust of the king's cheaters led to the word into its current sense, a dishonest gamester or a swindler. So cheater changed definition over time. The word naughty. In the 1300s, naughty people were people that had nothing. They were poor or needy. By the 1400s, the meaning shifted from having nothing to being worth nothing, being morally bad or wicked. It could refer to a licentious, promiscuous, or sexually provocative person, or someone guilty of other improper behavior. But in the 1600s, naughty also had a gentler meaning, especially as applied to children. Mischievous, disobedient, or badly behaved. Well, the word pretty. In Old English, pretty meant crafty and cunning. Later, it took on a more positive connotation, clever, skillful, or able. It could describe something, for example, a speech, cleverly or elegantly written. Perhaps that's how, by the 1400s, the meaning diverted to its present sense, good looking, especially in a delicate or diminutive way. So, how does the Bible define faith? Have we changed the definition to faith over time? Earlier I referred to Hebrews 11:6, and without faith it is impossible to please God. Now, based on the definition of faith I just gave you, we please God by believing in His ability to heal, therefore He heals. And if a person is not healed, then we did not actually believe in God's ability to heal. We did not please God, so no healing. Well, the problem with this, see, the scripture is not about God healing anyone. See, they didn't finish the scripture. And Hebrews 11:6 starts out with, and without faith it is impossible to please God. But it continues. It says, because anyone who comes to Him must believe that He exists and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him. See, anyone that comes to Him. So when you come to Him, you are seeking Him in prayer. You come to Him in prayer. And when you come to Him in prayer, you please God. Why? Well, because you just demonstrated that you believe that He exists. That is what it says. Because anyone who comes to Him must believe that He exists and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him. So this scripture is a philosophical statement. If you kneel in prayer, you must believe that God exists. Otherwise, who are you trying to talk to? Why kneel in prayer if you don't believe that God exists? See, faith is the belief that God exists, not in His abilities. And that belief is what pleases God. If you don't believe that God exists, then of course you can't please God. He doesn't exist. Have you heard this prayer by anybody? God, if you're up there. It's not actually faith, is it? It sounds more like doubt, if you're up there. Or how about this one? I'm not normally a praying man. Really? Remember the ending of Hebrews 11:6? He rewards those who earnestly seek him. Well, if you're not a praying man, you don't seek him, do you? I'm not normally a praying man does not sound like a person that earnestly seeks God. More like a foul weather friend. Or this statement. I've seen this one on Facebook. I would rather live my life as if there is a God and die to find out there isn't, than live as if there isn't and to die to find out that there is. So, I call that the better safe than sorry method. That's not faith either. Faith is not about what God can do for us. Faith is about what we will do for him. Let me give you some examples of people of faith in the Bible. Now in Hebrews 11, it continues on. And it says, by faith Noah built an ark. Not because Noah believed that the world was going to be flooded, but because he believed that God existed and told him to build the ark. So he built the ark because he believed in God's existence. It says, by faith Abraham, when God tested him, offered Isaac as a sacrifice. Not because he believed God would spare Isaac, but because he believed that God existed and told him to do it, so he did it. How about Daniel? By faith, Daniel went to the lion's den. Not because he believed God would protect him from the lions, but because he believed God exists and he refused to deny God. By faith, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego went to the fiery furnace. By faith, Stephen was stoned to death. By faith, Peter was crucified upside down, and Paul was beheaded. Because they believed that God exists, and they too refused to deny God, not because they believed God was going to deliver them from their enemies. How about some examples of people with no faith in the Bible? The disciples in the boat during the storm. Jesus was asleep, storm rages, Jesus wakes up, calms the sea. Jesus said, "O ye of little faith," to the disciples. See, it wasn't because the disciples didn't believe that Jesus could calm the sea. See, they were eyewitnesses to the event. Jesus said, "O ye of little faith," because they did not yet believe that he was God. Now, Jesus was also rejected at Nazareth. Matthew 13 tells us the story. Jesus went to his hometown. He taught and he performed miracles. The people were amazed. They said, "Where did this man get this wisdom and these miraculous powers? Isn't this the carpenter's son? Isn't his mother named Mary? And aren't his brothers James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas? Aren't all his sisters with us? Where then did this man get all of these things?" And Jesus said to them, "Only in his hometown and in his own house is a prophet without honor." And he did not do many miracles there because of their lack of faith. It wasn't a lack of faith because they didn't believe that Jesus had all this information to share with them or that he could perform miracles. Again, they were witnesses, eyewitnesses to the miracles. See, it was a lack of faith because they didn't believe that Jesus was God. See, faith is not about what God can do for us. That would be trust. An amazingly simple philosophical statement. You must have faith in God before you can have trust in God. You must first believe that God exists before you can trust in God's abilities. See, faith is about what we will do for Him because He exists. Now, is your faith as strong as Noah, Abraham, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego? How about Stephen, Peter, or Paul? See, the question is, what are you willing to do for God because of your faith, because of your belief that He exists? Think about it.